we're gonna go move on over to this shocking video. Randy Moon says a brief history of hold up, I'm gonna change that intro. A brief history of shock sites. Like what? I don't know if I want to know. I don't know if I want to watch this video, but we're gonna watch it. I know a little bit about this. Probably when I was like 15, 16 is when I learned about some shock videos and shock sites. Hopefully this isn't too shocking for other platforms other than YouTube.
This is now the third time I've worn this shirt in a video. What can I say? It's relevant to a lot of video topics. In my Whatever Happened to Profile customization video, I asked if anyone would be interested in me making a video about old shock sites. And several people said they would like to see that, so this is that video. Just a heads up that
Rotten.com is probably one of the worst ones that I know of that, like, was popular.
I'm going to be discussing some topics that are not safe for work or not safe for life. I'm not going to be going into graphic detail about anything, obviously, but probably don't watch this video out loud at work or in front of your grandma or something. Let's hope to God that
I could probably watch this in front of my grandma. My grandma's kind of a savage.
This doesn't get age restricted or demonetized. It's no secret that the internet is home to some pretty awful things. Creeps, rage bait, Twitter, but we
why'd you have to use Dr. Disrespect for that? Come on now.
Tend to think of the worst as being tucked away in shadowy corners of the dark web. There's plenty of disturbing stuff available on the clear web, however. All of the sites I'm going to discuss today could easily be—
I mention clear web and dark web all the time. Nobody understands what clear web is. Whenever I say it, they're like, what the hell are you talking about, clear web? Clear web is the regular internet that you see that's like YouTube, Facebook, all these websites that you're able to go to on Google with these search engines. That's the clear web. That's the stuff that the government and the corporations basically want you to see and allow everybody to see with free access without having to dig too deep on how to get into it.
Found through a Google search, or Bing if you're freaky like that. So what exactly is a shock site? The most basic definition is a website that showcases explicit material, often—
Her eyes are open so wide. She has seen way too many shock sites, I think.
Violent or sexual in nature, with the intention to be shocking. Some of these websites contain galleries of this kind of material for users to browse and are updated regularly, potentially allowing users to submit content themselves, while others contain a single image or video meant to be shared around, often as part of a bait-and-switch prank. I'll be talking about both kinds of websites in this video, from oldest to most recent. Now if you're ready, let us dive into the soft white underbelly of the internet and eviscerate it for all to see.
Oh, what's this guy's name? Oh, what was that?
One of the first, and certainly one of the most infamous shock sites, was Rotten.com. It was launched in 1996 by a developer known as Soylent Communications. The site's tagline was an archive of disturbing illustration, and it hosted a collection of various macabre images, videos, articles, and news stories that included footage of violent acts and horrific accidents, medical, forensic, and autopsy photographs, weird porn, and all manner of other gross and disturbing things. The sparse Web 1.0 layout of the site featured links with tag
trick or treat, bitch!
lines that would allude to the content the link led to in an ironic or humorous manner, but there were no thumbnails, so it was always a bit of a gamble what you would find whenever you clicked on something. Most content was submitted to the developers by users.
That's very, very reminiscent of the dark web and how the dark web works. Pretty much every link that you click on, every piece of the onion that you peel back, you're taking a gamble.
Users of the site. As you can imagine, the site was no stranger to controversy. In 1997, people flocked to the site when alleged images of Princess Diana's body being pulled from the car wreck that killed her were leaked on it, though these were later proven to be fake. Several other dead celebrity photos made their way to the site over the years, which were a major source of traffic for Rotten. They also drew criticism for posting photos from the 9/11 attacks, particularly of people jumping from the burning towers.
I'm actually okay with that being posted because that's a historical moment. Not okay with people making fun of it. Don't think that it should be banned, but like, don't do that.
They even received legal threats over the years, including, but not limited to, A cease and desist from toy company Mattel after Soylent obtained the domain Mattel, spelled Matell.com, and had it redirect to the Rotten homepage.
Yeah.
Meaning people looking for Barbies were one type
Yeah, we can't allow that. That's something that we cannot allow as a society.
away from instead seeing Tub Girl, and an investigation by the FBI and Scotland
Tub Girl. Tub Girl. Don't look that up.
Yard into an image posted on the site that involved infanticide and cannibalism, though this too was proven to be fake. The developers proudly displayed their various cease and desist letters in a dedicated section of the website. The gruesome content and various controversies did not drive people away from the site, however. If anything, it seems it made it all the more popular. By 2001, Soylent claimed that the site was seeing around 200,000 visitors a day. As the site grew in popularity into the early 2000s, various spin-off sites were created. One was Rotten Library, an encyclopedia intended to supplement the main site with satirical articles on various topics related to Rotten's content. The Daily Rotten was a news site that posted disturbing user-submitted news stories every day. Boners.
Okay, I'm cool with the news stories, as long as there's not, like, people creating the news stories, you know what I mean?
.com was a page that posted daily humorous images, usually less explicit in nature than what was featured on the main site. The Gaping Maw featured satirical editorials that provided commentary on current events and modern society. This site was actually shut down in 2005 in order to comply with a new US law about the online distribution of pornography. In 2003, Rotten launched a Deadpool where users could submit their predictions of famous people who would die that coming year.
That's pretty insane. Pretty insane, but I think we got that now again, don't we? Didn't that make a comeback with Politico?
And receive points for correct guesses. It didn't count if the person was murdered, though, for obvious reasons. In 2002, they launched the Notable Names database, a website documenting the activities of and connections between notable people. In their words, a person's otherwise inexplicable behavior is often understood by examining the crowd that person has been associating with. Bro thinks he's in a William Gibson novel. This website is still live, but it looks like it hasn't been updated since 2021. Finally, Sports Dignity was a catalog of embarrassing or not safe for work incidents during sports games. The site even started selling merchandise as well. Rotten continued to go strong until the late 2000s, when updates to the site became less frequent, eventually stopping altogether in 2012. In 2018, people noticed that the site was no longer available. It had temporarily gone down previously in 2017 due to a hardware issue, but this time it did not return. To my knowledge, Soylent has not.
Probably because there were better ways to see that content, like WikiLeaks at the time, Twitter, Facebook. Twitter and Facebook still on that list.
Made a statement as to why he chose to discontinue the site, but given it hadn't been updated in years, it's likely he just lost interest and decided not to renew the domain, or figured trying to operate such a site in an increasingly moderated internet landscape was an exercise in futility. It can still be accessed via the Wayback Machine, but do so at your own risk. You may be wondering why anyone would create a website full of some of the most horrible things humanity has to offer. Well, Rotten tried to justify its existence by claiming to be advocating for free speech and fighting against internet censorship. As I mentioned in my profile customization video,
I mean, I agree with the free speech thing. But you know, this is a hard one. The fact that it's being shut down is a good thing. That it's like shutting itself down. The reasons why they're shutting down and becoming less popular, I'm not really into that. Because it's just because they've moved on to other more popular platforms.
the internet was sort of the Wild West in the 90s and early 2000s.
Oh, it definitely still is. I think it's even wilder now than it's ever been.
Leading to much pearl clutching by concerned parents who implored the government to do something about it. In 1996, the United States government passed the Communications Decency Act in an attempt to regulate online material deemed indecent or obscene. While the act was ruled unconstitutional in 1997, it wouldn't be the last attempt to control what kind of material is made available online. And
yeah, and like, who's to say if it's real or not, right? you know? And like, you can't just ban that, because what if I post something and like, hey, this is something that this person did, or this is something that this person posted. Do I get in trouble for posting it? For linking to the thing? Like, yeah, you can't do that. There's so many implications to that. It's just a slippery slope.
And similar laws have been successfully passed in other countries. According to Rotten, such attempts at censorship of the internet are impractical, unethical, and wrong, and they pledge to continue to serve as a haven for free speech of a most controversial nature. Until 2018, anyways. Ogrish was another staple for shock site enthusiasts in the 2000s. Founded in the year 2000, it branded itself as an alternative news source, providing unfiltered, uncensored news coverage and other graphic material. It featured the taglines "Uncover Reality" and "Can You Handle Life?" In particular, it became a repository for footage from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Now it's just Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, places like 4chan, Reddit. That's where you get all that stuff now.
Execution videos by Mexican drug cartels and the Islamic State, and Russian dashcam videos. A separate website was created for forums where users could discuss the content they had seen on the website, called ogrishforum.com, that had over 200,000 users at its peak. Ogrish was relatively short-lived, closing down after just 6 years. The URL redirected to a new website called LiveLeak, a video-sharing site created in part by the founders of Ogrish. Now with the tagline "Redefining the Media," it aimed to carry on the mission of its predecessor in sharing uncensored footage of world events. Most videos were user-submitted, and videos from other websites could be embedded.
Yeah, too bad that they were leaking information that the government didn't like them leaking, and it got them shut down.
It was kind of like evil YouTube. The logo even vaguely resembled the old YouTube logo. Unlike Rotten, which was couched in dark humor, LiveLeak tried to take itself a bit more seriously and become a credible news source. It seemed to somewhat succeed at this, receiving shoutouts from politicians and having its videos used by mainstream news organizations. But for the most
And
part,
journalists. They were using LiveLeak all the time. Go on LiveLeak, you got yourself some stories.
it seemed to get lumped in with all the other shock and gore sites that middle schoolers would show to their friends in the computer lab when the teachers weren't looking. This attempt at a more professional image did not shield it from controversy, except instead of receiving legal threats from corporations and law enforcement, it received threats from criminals and terrorists. For instance, the site was attacked by South Korean hackers after a video of the execution of Kim Sun-il was posted in 2004, and site co-founder Hayden Hewitt received threats against his and his family's lives.
Like that, I think footage of things like that need to exist where people are able to see it. So that's where it's slippery slope, where we can't be censoring this kind of stuff, even if it's the worst of the worst.
For allowing an anti-Islam film to be posted on the site in 2008. The site gained notoriety in 2007 for hosting a video of the execution of Saddam Hussein, and again in 2014 for hosting a video of the execution of American journalist James Foley by the terrorist organization ISIS. Shortly after this last incident, they made the decision to disallow all execution footage produced by the Islamic State. By 2019, it was reported as being the 695th most popular site on the web. To put that into context a bit more, this was roughly on par with more mainstream sites such as satirical news site The Onion and feminist news site Jezebel. It was also featured in my favorite terrible horror movie, Unfriended. LiveLeak ended up shutting down in 2021. The exact reasons for its closure are unclear, but in a blog post announcing the shutdown, Hewitt said they felt LiveLeak had achieved all that it could, and it was time for us to try something new and exciting. The world has changed a lot over these last few years, the internet alongside it, and we as people.
Now X has become the new LiveLeak, and I don't think that government's going to be able to do anything about that.
Video posted to his YouTube channel, he stated that maintaining LiveLeak had become a struggle and that he and his team had run out of steam. Quote, "Everything's different now. Everything moves on. I don't fucking like it. I liked it much better when it was the Wild West." The LiveLeak URL now redirects to ItemFix, another video sharing site that, ironically, explicitly bans media containing excessive violence or gory content. Like Rotten,
it's still the Wild West. It's just that they don't know how to traverse the new plains.
It is available on the Wayback Machine, but it seems the videos from any captures prior to 2021 aren't playable because they ran using Flash Player. Similar to Rotten, Hewitt claimed his website served a greater purpose than merely providing disturbing content to shock people. He argued it's important to provide an outlet for uncensored footage of world events, saying, "Look, all of this is happening. This is real life. This is what's going on. We're going to show it."
True.
Evidently not everyone agreed with him, since several ISPs in Europe blocked the site in 2005.
Well, that's Europe, though. Europe, they're arresting people for Facebook posts over there right now. I've heard of this one.
Next up on our list is Best Gore. This website was founded in 2008 by Slovak-Canadian Mark Merrick, a part of our history. As with the two other sites, it contained galleries of user-submitted images and videos depicting graphic material. Users could also leave comments directly on the posts. The website gained notoriety in 2012 when a video titled "One Lunatic, One Ice Pick" was uploaded. This extremely graphic video showed the real-life brutal killing of a Chinese man, Jun Lin, who was living in Montreal, Canada as an international student at Concordia University. The video had been sent to Merrick by Lin's killer, who subsequently posted it on Best Gore. This move landed Merrick in legal hot water. The video was eventually taken down, and Merrick was charged with corrupting morals by Edmonton police, to which he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 3 months of house arrest followed by 3 months of community
Good. That is kind of like, that is an insane move to just upload something like that.
service. However, he protested his conviction by putting a piece of duct tape over his mouth and holding up a sign saying "Guilty of Canadian thought crimes" as he left court. During his hearing, he claimed that posting the video on his website allowed the public to identify the killer long before police did. It seems
True. But I question the motives of him actually posting stuff like that. Because I don't think they actually do it for the good. I think they get off on it. I do think that some of these websites are good, though, overall. And the people are running with a good moral foundation. But you got a site called Best Gore, and you're posting stuff like that. That's not free speech. That's porn.
there could be a shred of truth to this. An American lawyer did apparently see the video and attempt to report it to Canadian and American authorities, but was brushed off. Despite all of this, Best Gore remained active for several more years, shutting down in 2020. Merrick had previously stated that the site cost more to run than it generated in revenue. Can't imagine it was attracting too many advertisers. He also cited wanting to spend more time with his family, whom
I bet the whole thing was just advertising dick pills.
Been neglecting in favor of running the site as a reason for stepping away. Imagine being this guy's kid and having to explain to your therapist that you have daddy issues because your dad was too busy running a gore website to pay attention to you. But according to Merrick, posting videos of horrific crimes online was all for the public good. He claimed that such videos exposed police brutality, government abuse of citizens, war profiteering, and similar.
I agree, yes, but not with this guy. I don't agree that's what he was doing with this website.
Anti-people activities. For instance, he pointed out that Best Gore users were able to identify a video being used as propaganda by Syrian rebels as actually having originated from Mexico.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. Still a porn site.
Since the video had been available on Best Gore since before the beginning of the Syrian Revolution. I'm all for exposing propaganda, but this guy has made some comments that hint at him being a Holocaust denier, which diminishes the credibility of that statement just a little bit for me. He has also purported to receive messages from users of the site saying that viewing gore videos made them more aware of the fragility of the human body, and convinced them to take their lives and their safety more seriously. Others have said that the videos desensitized them to death and violence, better preparing them for a career in the military or as a paramedic.
I somewhat disagree with it desensitizes you to violence. I think it does to some people, but I've seen a lot of these videos. Still don't like violence.
The Internet Archive apparently does not share Merrick's views, given they've chosen to exclude the Best Gore URL from the Wayback Machine. There's a copycat site called bestgore.fun that, as far as I can tell, is unaffiliated with Merrick and the original website, but if it's anything like the original Best Gore was, I would have to say I agree with the Internet Archive's decision. I didn't last 30 seconds on that homepage, and I didn't even click any links or anything. Run the Gauntlet is a relatively new shock site, being founded in 2015, and is the only one so far that is still available today. Its slogan is, "The most vile, puke-inducing, hard-to-watch videos on the internet." The name comes from a historic form of corporate...
That is very, very 90s, early 2000s sounding MTV TV show.
...punishment known as running the gauntlet, in which the guilty party is forced to run between two rows of soldiers who would lash out at them with weapons as they passed. It features the usual shock site fare, but it is most notable for the Run the Gauntlet challenge. To successfully complete this challenge, challengers must sit through 20 shock videos that gradually increase in intensity without being able to pause or skip them, with 5 levels of difficulty ranging from beginner to insane. The later
That seems like something that I totally would have done when I was 16. I probably would have gone on that website with my friends and we probably would have played that game.
Levels include infamous gore videos such as 1 guy, 1 jar, and 3 guys, 1 hammer.
Yeah, I've seen those. Seen those when I was way too young. Everybody's way too young. You should never watch those.
If you don't know what those are, no, I won't be explaining it. If you're curious about the full contents of the challenge but don't want to attempt it yourself, Hannah the Horrible made a video going through each...
If you want to know what these things are, you can actually look them up on Google or Brave or any of these search engines, and they'll give you an explanation of what they are without showing you the content.
Level, or there's a full list of the contents available on the Screamer wiki. You don't win anything for completing this challenge, other than the bragging rights of being the biggest edgelord on the World Wide Web, I guess. If you want to do a similar type of challenge, but don't think you can stomach the videos in the Run the Gauntlet challenge, the website also has a completely safer work cringe edition of the challenge with 41 videos that are hard to watch in a different way. Reaction videos to the challenge became popular on YouTube shortly after its release, and in 2022 it received a resurgence of attention on TikTok. Unlike the owners of the past 3 sites, the guy behind Run the Gauntlet doesn't bother trying to justify or moralize its existence. He said he merely wanted to create a platform with gradually more extreme videos so that by the end of it, you'd seen it all and are probably desensitized to anything else on the internet.
I guarantee you're wrong.
So far we've talked about websites that consist of a
I'm not really that desensitized to stuff on the internet. I'm desensitized to memes and like seeing porn. That's what I'm desensitized to. All the violence and gore stuff. No, I've seen a lot of that and I still hate seeing it.
Compilation of shock images and videos of all varieties, but many of the most popular shock sites contain just one piece of disturbing media. Throughout the 2000s, it was popular to make reaction videos to them or trick your friends into clicking on the link, similar to a Rickroll. One of the first was goatsy.cx, a website that hosted an image with the file name hello.jpg that showed adult film star Kirk Johnson bending over and, spreading himself open for the camera. The image began spreading, no pun intended, around Usenet groups as early as 1997, and in 1999 the website was established. The site was taken down, sold, and relaunched several times throughout the 2000s. In 2017 it shifted into a cryptocurrency website, offering a currency called Goatsium, which is honestly cringier to me than the photo itself. I also feel like I remember hearing something about Goatsy NFTs at one point, but I was unable to confirm that.
This is why humanity's doomed. This is that kind of thing. That's what Sodom and Gomorrah burned for. I think that's what LA is dealing with right now, is they got themselves a Sodom and Gomorrah situation going on.
Currently, the website seems to be down. Next, we have Meatspin.com. This
I remember
website
that.
was launched in 2005 and featured a video of 2 people going at it, one of whom is helicoptering their dick, hence the name Meatspin.
And it had a counter for however long you could get through it.
While the song You Spin Me Round by Dead or Alive plays in the background. It was taken from an adult film called T.S. Bitches. I think most people assume the individuals in the video to both be men, But the one doing the helicoptering was actually a transgender woman named Christina Bianchini.
Woman.
I honestly don't find this one that shocking. I mean, obviously, if you click on a link not expecting to see something not safe for work, you're gonna be a bit surprised.
It was pretty shocking back in the day to 14-year-old kids that had a newly found power of internet on their cell phones.
But I think most of the shock value here just came from the very homophobic online culture of the 2000s. What's more interesting to me is that this video inspired the Leak Spin viral video in 2006, in which the character Orihime from the anime Bleach spins a leak to the Finnish song Iivan Polka. This in turn inspired the iconic Hatsune Miku version of the video, where she spins a leak and sings Iivan Polka, leading to her association with leaks. Some crazy butterfly effect shit happening here.
I don't even. Okay, internet. Yeah, we're screwed.
Probably the most notorious of these kinds of sites is Two Girls One Cup. I am not going to describe what happens in this video.
Everybody knows what it
If you don't already
is.
know by now, you're probably too
I can tell you there's one worse that I saw, and I'm not going to give you the name of it, but it's got a similar name, and it involves pigeons.
young to be here. Please press the back button and go watch slime ASMR videos or something. This clip was from the trailer of a Brazilian adult film called Hungry Bitches, and was first posted online in 2007. There's been some debate over the years as to whether the video was real or not. The director apparently tried to argue in a Mexican court that the bodily fluids seen in the film were actually ice cream, but he was unsuccessful in convincing them, so make of that what you will. Either way, I hope those two girls were paid handsomely. By now you might be asking, why? Why do so many of these websites exist? Why are they so...
Why do you know about so many of them? Probably from watching YouTube, actually. That's how I'm figuring out about them right now. I'm doing it right now. I'm doing the thing that she probably did to find out about them.
popular? Why do people enjoy watching this stuff? The average
They
person
don't.
has no desire to view such graphic content, and many think those who do
That's the reason it gets viewed, actually.
must have something wrong with them. Yet each of the websites we've discussed have had dedicated fan bases. Well, when you look back on human history, you will actually see that people have been drawn to displays of violence for centuries. In fact, it used to be far more prevalent than it is now. Think of Roman gladiator competitions and public executions. I don't know why people think Monster Energy would kill a medieval child. That kid was watching people get drawn and quartered in the village square every Saturday. Our current taboos around discussing and witnessing death are a relatively recent thing, since advances in technology and medicine have allowed us to live longer, leading us to view death more as a problem to be solved than an inevitable.
I think us being connected so prevalently is also a part of that, because we don't like to see people that we know get killed. If we don't know somebody and they get killed, who cares? Especially if we think that they're evil.
Inevitability. Despite this, I think most of us still have an innate curiosity to see things that are considered taboo. I certainly don't count myself above morbid curiosity. One of my earliest pastimes was looking at pictures of medical deformities in my dad's college biology textbook. And I turned out fine. In an article by Sue Tate, a lecturer at the University of Canterbury in New Zealand, she analyzes the various reasons people choose to use shock sites by examining the ogrish.com forums. Some do indeed watch gore videos purely for...
Well, power went out again. It's because shitty house. You want to help me out with that? I got PayPal down there in the description.
to see things that are considered taboo. I certainly don't count myself above morbid curiosity. One of my earliest pastimes was looking at pictures of medical deformities in my dad's college biology textbook. And I turned out fine. In an article by Sue Tate, a lecturer at the University of Canterbury in New Zealand, she analyzes the various reasons people choose to use shock sites by examining the ogrish.com forums. Some do indeed watch gore videos purely for entertainment purposes. Looking at these kinds of videos and images gives them an adrenaline rush that some have likened to a high, similar to the feeling obtained from watching horror movies.
Yeah, because it's porn.
These adrenaline junkies become desensitized over time, causing them to seek out more and more extreme content in order to achieve that same feeling. It becomes almost like an addiction. However, there are others who claim to seek out this content for more ethical reasons. Some say it's important to bear witness to the realities of our world and see past the censorship of the mainstream media, while others claim this content has helped them prepare for or deal with their own traumatic experiences. These latter reasons are certainly the justifications provided by sites like Rotten, LiveLeak, and Best Gore. I'm not sure I can fully get behind their reasoning, though. Most of the videos on these sites were presented without context, and viewers mostly just commented on the gore or, the video quality. Shockingly, they were not having nuanced.
What is happening? Okay, come on.
Certainly the justifications provided by sites like Rotten, LiveLeak, and Best Gore. I'm not sure I can fully get behind their reasoning, though. Most of the videos on these sites were presented without context, and viewers mostly just commented on the gore or, the video quality. Shockingly, they were not having nuanced and in-depth conversations on the nature of war and geopolitics. According to one Best Gore user interviewed by GQ Australia, a lot of people talk about visiting Best Gore because it's reality. But I don't think it's reality. I'm not on guard all the time. We're seeing the worst of the world, but I don't think the world is so bad. And while these videos may have helped some people, they have harmed plenty of others. Many viewers reported on the Ogrish forums being upset, sickened, or disturbed by what they had seen, often unable to sleep due to being haunted by it. The woman in the GQ article said that she had started to limit the kinds of videos she watched because she didn't like that she had become desensitized and didn't want to lose her humanity. And this is not to mention we're seeing the worst of the world, but I don't think the world is so bad. And while these videos may have helped some people, they have harmed plenty of others. Many viewers reported on the Ogrish forums being upset, sickened, or disturbed by what they had seen, often unable to sleep due to being haunted by it. The woman in the GQ article—
You don't say, man. You don't say. I probably would be not able to sleep if I was watching all this kind of content to get cheap thrills. Just watch horror movies. What is your problem?
said that she had started to limit the kinds of videos she watched because she didn't like that she had become desensitized and didn't want to lose her humanity. And this is not to mention the ethics of sharing a video in which someone dies horrifically to thousands or even millions of people online, captioning it with a funny title and using it for challenges and reaction videos. The victims in these videos are dehumanized and objectified, with no information given about who they were. In some cases, these videos are produced and uploaded by the person who killed them. But these were real people with families and friends who now have to live with the knowledge that footage of their loved ones' final agonizing moments is floating around out there on the web for anyone to see.
I just already assume that that's going to be a thing that's going to happen to me. That my death is just going to be online.
Allowed to exist. The owner of Best Gore was criminally charged, but authorities were unable to take down the website itself, and he continued to run it for years after his conviction. Well, I fear the creator of Rotten did sort of have a point when it came to internet censorship. Trying to censor online—
Sort of had a point, but he definitely had the wrong reasons and was not using his websites for the reason that he stated.
Content can very quickly become a slippery slope. Let's look back at the Communications Decency Act of 1996.
Yeah, and we start getting people that are committing these murders because they know they'll get popular online.
A law that spawned Rotten.com. It attempted to regulate both indecency and obscenity online. But who gets to decide what's indecent or obscene? These terms are dangerously nebulous. There are many lawmakers who consider sex education in schools, books about slavery, or the mere existence of gay and trans people to be indecent and obscene. So you can see how a law like this could very easily be abused. There's a reason why so many similar laws have attempted to be passed since the 90s, and most of them have been unsuccessful. Currently, the Canadian government is trying to pass Bill S-210.
Of course the Canadians are gonna do it. The Canadians are the ones who keep passing all these stupid anti-free speech laws.
An act to restrict young persons' online access to sexually explicit material. That sounds all good and well in theory, but it would require internet users to provide personal information to their ISPs in order to verify their age.
No good.
Which creates significant
That is no good now that we're doing that with regular porn. It is no good for the extremes like this case.
Privacy and security risks. Passing any sort of law that would regulate or ban shock sites would have far too much collateral damage for it to be worth it, in my opinion. However, we may be starting to see these shock sites phase out naturally anyway. The majority of the sites mentioned in this video closed within the last few years. The owners
Because they've all moved over to the other social media platforms that are more popular.
cited a variety of reasons for these closures, but ultimately I believe it's due to the changing landscape of the internet. Like I said in the profile customization video, the internet has become whitewashed, sanitized, advertiser and shareholder friendly. Not a very hospitable environment for websites showcasing death and depravity. What do you think about shock sites? Do you think they should be allowed to exist or not?
Yes.
Were you traumatized by a friend forcing you to watch?
I think they should be allowed to exist, but they should be covered up on the clear web. Not recommended. If you want to go out and look for them, they're there, but I don't think they should be like up front in the clear web. You try and search for them on Google, it's banned from Google, stuff like that.
Watch Two Girls, One Cup when all you wanted was to watch Sonic the Hedgehog AMVs? Let me know in the comments. And here's a video of my cat in case you need some mind bleach after all that. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, liking, subscribing, and sharing would be very much appreciated. I'll catch y'all in the next one.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to watch this video again because I have to edit it. But I'm going to play some Terraria later, and that's going to be my mind bleach. I'll get my mind off of this whole video, this whole experience with the power going out and me losing footage and money. I'm losing money because of this, man. Okay. But this is a good video. I like this chick, even though she's kind of lefty, but I'm kind of lefty too. I'm going to give her a like and a subscribe. And you should do that too. Give her some credit. This is a good video. And I like all this random internet lore. Check out my link tree down there in the description. Help me out with my power going out situation.